it's time to dive into some motherfucking spoilers. So, if you have not seen the movie, get the fuck out of here. I mean, just leave. Seriously, why are you here? Now, that was your last warning. Now, anyway, let me start with the opening sequence. I loved how how it was shown differently this time. It felt fresh. Like, some people, I know some of you were thinking like, oh, I don't want to see Batman's origin story. I don't want to see the death of his parents all over again. I've seen that in the other movies. Like, why do we need to see that? And this was done much cleverly. It was done very well. I mean, like the way the deaths were done, like how Thomas Wayne was shot down, and especially how Martha Wayne died. When she tried to grab the mugger, and then the pearls got stuck on the gun, and then he pulls the trigger, and then they break like. I'm like, wow, that is clever. Oh my gosh. I mean, like any other versions, he tries to take the pearls off of her, but in this one, like, wow. And I mean, I'm saying, like, in my opinion, this is the best, like, this is like the best live action version of that scene that they ever did, that was ever done. I mean, that's in first place. Batman Begins was in second place, and Tim Burton's Batman is right at the bottom. I'm sorry, guys. I mean, I'm not saying it was shitty, but I'm just saying compared to those three, it's at the very bottom. And Batman v Superman's is like right on the top. And when Bruce was running from, when he's at the funeral and he's running in the woods and he falls down into the Batcave, it seems like. And then the bats start swarming around him, and then it's like, and then he starts floating. It's like the bats are carrying him back up to the surface, like. I'm like, wow. It's like he found his calling. It's like Bruce Wayne is being reborn, and he basically is. I mean, from the moment his parents were killed right in front of him, and then he goes fall, and he's in the Batcave, and then he sees bats, and then, I mean, that's the moment he becomes a whole different person. I mean, like, that is done. I mean, that was really awesome to see, and seeing the events of Man of Steel from Bruce Wayne's perspective was also done pretty freaking awesome too. He just goes right in the middle of that shit and he survives it. He doesn't get a scratch on him. He doesn't come out of that thing without one cut on his body. I'm like, yeah, that is pretty freaking amazing. I mean, Batman has that much luck. And also and I gotta say, I really I gotta say that the events that leads up to Batman and Superman duking it out, part of it, I mean, some of it was pretty mediocre to me, and what motivates Batman to really go up against Superman was done very well. And on Superman's side, what forces him to go into that battle is, it's pretty dark and emotional, but I'd say what gives Batman that push was much better to me, in my opinion, because you see, like, it looks like something, like when Superman goes to that debate hearing or whatever, he walks in, and then, they get ready to talk, and the senator's looking over at her drink and looking back at the, Lex Luthor's empty chair. It's like you see the talks that they had before, and she has that scared look on her face, like almost like she knows that he did something, like he's not there and whatnot. It's like she knows some crazy shit's about to go down, and then the whole building explodes, and Superman is standing there with the guilt, with just feeling guilty. He's just like consumed with guilt as the building that he's standing in is on fire, and everything around him is burning, and his head's down like this. Like, oh man, this guy cannot get a break. And Batman sees this on live television, and that pisses him off. And he gets the letter that says, "You let your family die." That pisses him off. That goes him into this beast mode where he's getting ready for a fight. He's gearing up and he's coming in, fully armored and ready. All like shit. and on Superman's side, he he's provoked into doing it, or he's being blackmailed into doing it. Like where Lex Luthor figures out who he is, and we don't even see how he does that. But I mean that, which is really random. Like at the moment he tells him that he knows that he's Clark Kent, and I mean Superman's reaction is the same as us. Like wait, what? How? What? But and he throws pictures of down on the floor, and he sees that as his mother, and for a second I'm like, wait a minute. Did he kill her? But and then like that, as soon as he was getting ready to burn Lex Luthor, I mean seriously, he was getting ready to burn his ass. He was getting ready, his heat vision, his eyes were lit up and everything, and I'm like, wow. I mean Superman is like about to burn him oh yeah, he don't need the water. I'm about to let this motherfucker burn style. and then Luthor said yeah, okay, if you kill me, then she dies. If you fly off, and she dies. I'm like, oh, okay, so he's keeping her alive for leverage. Okay, I mean, which is what I thought he was gonna do from the jump until I saw those pictures. I'm like, did he fucking kill her? But shit. It's crazy. And it's crazy how. Let me say, I liked how Lex Luthor got into the Kryptonian ship, or the Kryptonian ship. I like how he gets in there. I mean, like in where he cuts some of the fingerprints off of Zod's skin, and then he uses that as his to get access into the ship. That's much better than how they've done it in Superman Returns and Superman 2 and the Christopher Reeve version, where he just walks in, puts the crystal into its slot or whatever, and then all of a sudden, okay, I mean, you're getting the information you need. What the fuck? I mean, at least Zack Snyder got that right. But another thing I did not like is how Doomsday was created, putting Zod's stiff into the into whatever the fuck is in there, like into the liquid shit or whatever, and then he cuts his hand. And he pours the blood all over the corpse and into the as he puts it into the liquid shit or whatever, and then he's pouring it all like what are you trying to do? Bring back Count Dracula? Like what the fuck? I thought the nightmare sequence was done, bro. I think it was pretty random to have those Easter eggs, those dark side Easter eggs, where you see the Omega symbol, and then you see his minions or whatever, and then they're all flying around and shit. I mean, I found that really random, and it was almost like that moment in Superman the Animated Series, when Darkseid's taken over the Earth, and then Superman, is basically brainwashed. He's a weapon. He's like Darkseid's weapon. That's what it almost seems like to me in that nightmare sequence. Because when Superman flies down, they have hostages around Batman, and he kills them with his heat vision. And then he pulls off his cowl, and he says, she was my heart, and you took her from me, or some shit like that. And then he just puts his hand, he punches through his heart. I'm like, what? I thought we were going to see him, probably in the R-rated version, they show him yanking out the beating heart, and it's beating in his hand, like, doo-doo. Da-doom, 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 da-doom. That's probably what happens in the R-rated version of this movie. And I liked how the Flash had a cameo in that nightmare sequence where Bruce is still having the nightmare, and then he sees the Flash sort of in a portal opens up, and Flash is like yelling at him like, Bruce, you were right. Lois Lane is the key to the Lois Lane. Lois is the key, or some shit like that. I'm like, this screams Injustice. I mean, this is like little winks to Injustice, like where Superman is basically lost his way, and he's and he's like becoming like like a dictator. He's like a violent dictator in another universe, and like wow, I mean, like, are we gonna see that at some point in this universe? I mean, that would be cool to see in a live action movie, honestly, but I don't know. Okay, so I'm thinking back to Heath Ledger when they announced that he was the Joker. This is way before, like I said, this is way before I saw any of his, performances, any trailers to The Dark Knight. Like this is like right at day one when they said he's going to be the Joker. Um, I was not happy. I mean, I was really pissed off until the trailers came out, and then you hear him in action, you hear him laughing, and then you see him talking. He's like, "Good evening, Commissioner," and all of that. And I was like, "Wow!" So I mean, his performance was a big slap across my face, and that taught me to keep an open mind to like when actors who don't seem like the obvious choice for certain roles when they get the part. Let's see what they have to bring to the table, and then decide if you like it or not from there. And I had to remind myself that again with Ben Affleck. I mean, like, when they said he was Batman, I'm like, that is so not the obvious choice. Definitely not the obvious choice. And I thought he would like commitment to the role, and continuing like what else they want to do with the character. But man, was I wrong. I mean, the trailers in this movie were big bitch slaps across my face. I mean, my face is still swollen up from how awesome he is as Batman. I mean, when the trailers came out, when you see him in action, boop. When his movie came out, that was like a big punch in the gut, for me. I mean, man, like all that negativity I threw towards him just came back at me at full force. And Jesse Eisenberg, however, no, not so much. when I see his performance, I'm thinking that I see more Edward Nygma than I see Lex Luthor. I mean, he would have been a perfect Riddler. I mean, I heard that originally Riddler and Joker were supposed to be the villains in this movie. I'm glad they're not. I mean, they don't seem like the obvious choice for Batman and Superman to take on together. I mean, Batman can take them on both by himself. But seriously, I mean, Jesse Eisenberg would have been the perfect Riddler. I mean, like, I mean, I think he turned down the role of the Riddler, and which he shouldn't have. I mean, if he turned down that role, then he shouldn't have any part of this movie at all. I mean, unless Riddler was really going to be in the movie, then yeah, have him, book him, and, seriously. I mean, picture him saying, "Riddle me this," and throwing riddles at people. He would be perfect. I mean, you hear how he talks in a lot of his movies, where he has that quirkiness to him and whatnot, and the way he has that smart Alec, that smart Alec swag to him. He would have been a great Edward Nygma. I mean, he almost reminds me, the way he acts as Lex Luthor, he kind of reminds me of Edward Nygma in Gotham Season 2. How he's really crazy and he's a little off. I mean, that's how he reminds me of. And, he acts like he has Tourette's. I mean, like, he starts doing, like in between some of his speeches in the movie. And, I mean, and Lex Luthor is supposed to wear like a mask, like where people look up to him, like, oh yeah, he's a billionaire. He really cares about the people. He donated, like millions of dollars to the, hospitals and to, cancer awareness and all that stuff. I mean, he would hide behind, that he would sit himself on that throne that these blind people put him on. And that would be his superpower, like against the world and against, Superman, and that would give him the upper hand of why Superman has not had him, sent to jail yet, But I don't know, and you get the feeling that the way he talks about his father, the way they talk about LexCorp, how he declines that credit of his company. and then he immediately, pushes the credit right towards his father. You get the feeling that his father is the real Lex Luthor, and that's what I thought even before this movie came out. Like maybe he is Lex Luthor Jr., and the theories were there, and they don't seem that that far fetched either. The way he talks about his father, I mean, like maybe I'm pretty sure that his dad is the real Lex Luthor. Now I know in a debating hearing when they had his name, they had his name on the chair in an empty chair, and it says Lex Luthor. It doesn't say Lex Luthor Jr. I still think that he's Lex Luthor Jr. That doesn't seem far fetched to me, and he looks too young, and he looks younger than Superman. I mean, come on. I mean, like last time I checked, Lex Luthor is supposed to be at least a few years older than Superman, if not older than that. I mean, that's how it's always been, from as far as I can remember. And Eisenberg's performance is way over the top, and just when we thought Gene Hackman and Kevin Spacey's performances were over the top, nah, Eisenberg has them beat. I mean, like I said, Gal Gadot, another awesome addition to the movie. I had faith in her, while everyone else is saying, "Oh, you're too skinny. You're just you're a skinny mini. You're not Wonder Woman. There's no way you can pull this off. I mean, you are not Wonder Woman. I'm sorry." I'm thinking to myself, you guys shut the fuck up and give her a chance. I mean, Wonder Woman's not supposed to be this really huge masculine woman like China from the WWE or something like that. I mean, she's supposed to be like, in good shape, and at the same time very flexible too, where she can, move quickly and attack her enemies really well. And that's what she did in this motherfucking movie. I mean, like, she was fantastic, and people applauded her entrance when she made in there. She came in there, and Doomsday's getting ready to kill Batman, and then she comes in with her bracelets, blocking his attack, and then it's like, I was like, what? I said to myself, wow. I was this close to drooling, and then I was like thinking to myself, that is a hot entrance. Down, boy. Oh man, she was fantastic, and I cannot wait to see her in her own movie. It is gonna be great. I mean, she made everyone eat their own words too. Her portrayal as Wonder Woman was a real punch in the gut to those people. I hope, for those of you who doubted her, I hope her performance kicked you in the gut to the point where you couldn't get up anymore. And for those of you, and some people are complaining like, okay, Batman and Superman didn't fight long enough. It did move a little quick. Just a little bit. But, did you really expect Batman and Superman to fight in every scene that they're in the entire movie? You wanted the movie end with them, with this being the final battle and being like, okay, this person wins, and then roll credits. Is that really what you wanted to see? The fuck? If you want to see a movie where two icons are fighting in every scene that they have together, here's your movie. Boop! There it is, right there. Now, anyway, it is called Dawn of Justice. In case you people forgot. Come on. You people clearly have not seen Justice League. And, the fight, I say, with Batman and Superman was brilliant. It could have been avoided, though. All you had to do was talk to him, which he tried to do at first. But, Batman's provoking him, and he proceeds to fight him anyway. Seriously. After falling into a little trap and being shot at multiple machine guns, and he burns them out. Right after he does that, then he's like, okay, I'm gonna fight this motherfucker. You're just in that beast mode, like, okay, you wanna fight? Okay, you wanna fight? Okay, I'll give you a fight. I get it, that's a human emotion, like where someone keeps provoking you and keeps, trying to get you to fight them, and then all you can think about is beating the shit out of the person. I mean, they both are really, really under stress right now, and I mean, Batman's going through this stress, like, oh, he's becoming a threat to the human race, and I have to take care of him. And then Superman's like, Lex Luthor is a maniac, and he's gonna kill my mother, and I'm trying to, I mean, all he's trying to think about right now is saving his mom. And then they're both, they just go at it. I mean, you understand. I mean, you understand from both sides, but I mean, Superman could have held himself together and say, look, I'm not here to fight you. I mean, we have to, Martha Kent is in danger, and we have to save her. I mean, but I love the fight though. I mean, like it was really good on both sides, and I loved how when, my prediction was right, by the way. Like when Superman caught the bullet, and then it just exploded, and all the kryptonite gas was everywhere, and he's like coughing and gagging, and he's gagging, and then it just it temporarily takes away his powers, or it drains his powers, where his powers are shut off temporarily, and then that's when Superman discovers that, okay, this is kryptonite. You know what it does to you now. Excuse me. It weakens you and it drains your powers, and then that's what gives Batman the upper hand. And I like how when Superman goes to punch Batman, I mean, he punches the armor, and you hear that dink, like how, like, let's say, like if I tried to punch a steel, like, I don't know, like a bank vault or whatever, and it would hurt. You just hear a dink, and then you get the feeling that the punch hurt him, like where the metal of the bat armor hurted his fist, like dink, and Batman's beating his ass and everything. And then eventually, well, not eventually, but in a couple minutes later, Superman starts to get his powers back. And then as Batman was punching him, he has him up against the wall. He's punching him. You feel the difference, like where he's punching a real person, like a human being, and it sounds like he's trying. It sounds like he's punching a steel chamber, like when he's punching Superman's face after his powers come back, like ding, 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 and he has that look on his face. And I was really expecting Batman to say, "Oh fuck," but Superman throws him in mid sentence, like, "Oh fuck." I mean, it's like back and forth, like where he shoots him another kryptonite dose, and then he gets the upper hand once again, and it's like in reverse and reverse. And eventually, Batman beats the shit out of him. I will admit, I was Team Superman. I was rooting for Superman, but Batman beat the fuck out of him. So when it comes to the fight alone and the physicality, Batman won. I guess when it comes to just on an emotional level, like of how the fight ended, where Superman ended it by saying Martha. You thinking, I mean, like, I'm surprised I'm not the only one who really acknowledges that. Like, both of their mothers have the same first name, and they really played with that really well. Where as soon as he said Martha, that really affected Batman, and he's like, "How did you hear that name? How do you know? Where did you hear that name?" And then Lois conveniently shows up and saves Superman from being killed. And then that's when they find out, okay, we know what's going on here. Lex Luthor, set them up, and now they form an alliance, and then they go put a stop to his Ring of Terror. But if any of you are disappointed with that, you guys crack me up. I mean, this is Batman and Superman. I mean, yeah, they fought, but they're also friends too. They form a league together, and I love how that happened too. I mean, I love how it goes from this battle to the beginning of a partnership, of a strong friendship, and and I love how And I loved how when Wonder Woman was fighting Doomsday, she was enjoying it, and when he knocks her on her ass, she gets back up, or she's just like, no, that motherfucker just didn't. And there's moments where she would smile like she loves herself a good fight, and she loves to go in there, she loves the battle, and I love how what you would expect from Wonder Woman, besides the invisible jet, everything else you would expect from her. It's pretty much there, and I loved how when she cut Doomsday's hand off, I'm like, watch, it's gonna grow back and it's gonna be a lot of bone structures, a lot of bone claws coming out, and that's what happened. I'm like, holy shit. Oh, and then they have this impression like, okay, he's basically Kryptonian, so kryptonite can kill Kryptonians. So let's get the kryptonite spear into his heart, and Superman goes through hell to get that spear. He swims in the water. He tries to grab it, and Lois has to get him out of the water. And he charges his way at Doomsday with the spear. He stabs him in the heart with it, and then Doomsday stabs him in the heart with his fist, with the claws, and right in the heart. I went numb at that moment. I was like, they're really going with that direction with Superman and Doomsday. I mean, I get it. That's what you would most likely expect, but I thought they were gonna save that for another movie. But apparently not. I think they're not. And he stabs him in the chest, and then they both die. I mean, that's how it is. I mean, where they kill each other, and some people might say, "Oh, it's the kryptonite spirit weakened him," and then that's how Doomsday got the upper hand on him. Doomsday doesn't need kryptonite to make Superman bleed. I mean, he can just punch him with those bone claws and kick him in the gut, and Superman will be spitting up blood, literally, with no kryptonite needed, none. I mean, yeah, you may say it plays a little role in there, but I mean, the fact that he still had enough power to fly his way towards him, that was very powerful, and I think Superman's death is going to, motivate some other members of the League, like the Flash and Cyborg and Aquaman, to eventually, or at least the Flash, like at least be an inspiration to them to step up out of the shadows and make a difference with, with their new abilities. Well, with like the Flash and Cyborg. I mean, Aquaman was born like that, so you get where I'm going with this, and it makes up for what Man of Steel lacked, like where it didn't have much of a story, not really much of a character development, not much of the emotional resonance, and not much of no inspiration, like where it didn't, where I guess Man of Steel wasn't an inspirational movie, but this movie has inspirational elements. Batman v Superman, and Superman's death, like it took for him to, he gave his life for all of us, and that opened Batman's eyes literally, and that opened everyone's eyes, where everyone is sad and mourning over his death, and I guess they played with that thing like where both Superman and Clark Kent are deceased, where I guess Clark Kent was killed in the middle of that destruction, and I find it hilarious how some you people, if any of you are nitpicking with the destruction in this movie, that's what Doomsday is all about. When you see when there's Doomsday, destruction follows. I mean, that's just how it is with Doomsday. I mean, if Doomsday was in this movie and there was very little destruction, I would be very disappointed. I mean, I would be very disappointed. I would say this is the biggest cop out in this version of the movies. That's an even much bigger cop out than Superman spinning around the Earth, turning back time, in my opinion. But I did enjoy, the elements that they brought from, most comics, like The Dark Knight Returns and Death of Superman. I like how they crammed some of those elements in together. And it's not really the best route, but I have a feeling I'm going to change my mind when I get a second dose of this movie, because I did enjoy it enough where I'm like, it has flaws, but I accept those flaws. I can live peacefully with the flaws that this movie has, and all the positivity that it has outweighs all of that, all those flaws. And it is a very magnificent movie, and I cannot wait to see it again. And it, like I would say, like if this was Christopher Reeve's version, of Superman, his version of Superman would have try to talk to Batman. I mean, yeah, he would have dodged his attack, he would defend himself, but he would talk to him at the same time. Like he wouldn't give in to a fight that easily. He would still talk to him. I mean, that's how much of a Boy Scout, Superman is. At least like how we've grown, how he is, how I've grown to know him. Like from growing up, and I like how this Superman doesn't let people walk over him. I like how he steps up, and I like how he doesn't take any shit. But still, the fight could have been avoided. I'm glad the fight still happened, but it could have been avoided. He didn't come to fight him. I mean, he could have easily still tried to talk to him, and then eventually give into the fight where where he beats him up to the point where it's like, okay, are you ready to listen to me now? But I did like how both characters had the upper hand. I liked how Batman had the upper hand. I liked how Superman had his upper hand. I mean, it mixed up really good. Like we're okay, Batman has it, Superman has it, Batman has it, and I also love how they showed Wonder Woman's strength, because when Superman dies and she goes to pick up his body and she picks him up and then she lands him right in front of Lois, and like she picked him up like he was nothing. I'm like, I loved how they showed that, how she's a really strong woman, and I cannot wait to see her in her own movie. Yeah, but this movie found a balance that some people complained that Man of Steel lacked, like where it's just it's all punch throwing. It's just them. It's just two superpowered. It's just superpowered beings throwing punches at each other and buildings falling apart, and then that's all the movie is. I guess they found a balance with that. And some people are not happy that there's a lot of downtime that leads up to the fight with Batman and Superman. Like you were complaining that Man still had too much action. Now you're complaining that doesn't have that this movie has more than just action stuff. Like I mean, like there's no pleasing. There's just some of you people that there is no satisfying you. Like I mean, these movies are just not made for you. I mean, you should just avoid it. Just let the people who enjoy these movies enjoy it in peace. And I said this movie found a really good balance with the emotional resonance and the inspirational moments that these kind of movies need, and the kind of inspiration that Superman needed that we didn't quite get in Man of Steel, but we got it in this movie. Like when he gave his life to save everybody by killing Doomsday. Now, if someone complains about him killing Doomsday, like he just killed again, he took another life. Like, I mean, come on. I mean, like, shut the fuck up. I mean, I said this like years back when Man of Steel came out. Like, he killed before in the comics, and best believe when they introduce Doomsday at some point in this universe, it's going to happen again. And there you go. It happened. And at the end, Superman saved everybody by killing Doomsday. And I loved how when him and Doomsday started fighting, he didn't knock him into buildings or knock him into civilians, and there was really no people around, for him to get killed. So that so that's okay. I loved how he knocked him in space, how he was knocking him in space. He's flying him into space, and Doomsday's punching him out of the way, and then he flies back up and he keeps knocking him, and then the president says launch the missile, and then the missile hits both of them. I loved how Superman's floating in space, and half of his space is a little decayed, and all that, and I'm like, watch, he's eventually the yellow sun's gonna shine on him, and then he's gonna be okay. Then he's gonna fly back down to Earth, and that's what happened. And like Superman was trying to get Doomsday away from everybody. You know what I mean? I mean that's I loved how he did that. I mean some of his strategy is was what they're making up for in Man of Steel, or where he's handling fights better in this movie, and I loved how it came down to where just Superman and Wonder Woman had to fight Doomsday, and Batman had nothing, didn't have anything to contribute. I mean, all he can do is stand idly by and watch, or hide. You know, like when every time Doomsday made an attack. And I still don't agree with Doomsday having heat vision and, you know, heat vision force field, whatever bubbles or whatever he does. But I do love how Wonder Woman, when she smashes her bracelets together, like ding, and then it has a sound wave that you know, some just burst of energy that comes out, and then it just pushes into, you know, like into Doomsday and shit. I was like, oh yeah, get him, girl, get him. And but yeah, like I said, I like how, I mean, I like how they're being realistic with in situations like, you know, okay, you know, as cool as Batman is, he does not stand a chance against a villain like Doomsday. I mean, he can get killed just as easily as Superman can get killed. I mean, so he was wise to try to avoid Doomsday at any cost until he got his hands on a kryptonite gun or the spear or one or the other or something. I thought probably Superman was gonna maybe throw the spear to Wonder Woman or Batman, but no. I mean, he literally, you know, he it was a selfless act, which is what we would expect from Superman, where he does it himself. And I mean, what Man of Steel lacked, that all that made up for in this movie. And I didn't quite agree with them having a funeral for, well, I mean, Superman, yeah, okay, for Superman, okay, but for Clark Kent as well, I didn't agree with that. I did not agree with that. It should have just said he's taking, you know, he's taking some sick days, you know, he's going away for a little while or something like that. You know, like, don't let people put two and two together like Clark Kent is Superman. I mean, like, I didn't agree with them having a funeral for Clark Kent, but I think it was a private funeral for Clark. I think so. It should have been just for Martha Kent and Bruce Wayne and Diana and Lois, just for them to attend, since they all know who he is. I mean, this should just be for that particular crowd, you know. And I liked how Superman's death really took a toll on Batman, like where he probably feels like the biggest asshole for being set up by Lex Luthor, you know, being from Lex Luthor manipulating someone who as a greater detective as Batman, and to going up against someone who isn't a threat, who isn't, you know, a hero like himself. And I wanted him to put the, you know, Bat brand on Lex Luthor. I want him to put it right on his head, like right there on his head, make him look like a total idiot. And I mean, what the fuck was Lex Luthor ranting after Batman left? Like, he's hungry and he's coming. Like, what the fuck? I mean, some people say it's Darkseid. I don't know what would give him that impression that Darkseid is coming. Maybe it's from the Kryptonian ship. Maybe it told him something about Darkseid. Maybe, and that's how he found out that Superman and Clark Kent are the same person. I don't know, but I mean, they never really explained that. They just left that up for the audience to figure it out themselves, which is not really a good move. I mean, it would have been cool to see how he figured that out. And I don't remember if he knows if Bruce Wayne and Batman are the same person. I don't think he does, but maybe. But I highly doubt he knows that Batman and Bruce Wayne are the same person. But I did love how Batman confronted him. I mean, but the whole nose running thing, I think that was really off. It would have been better if Batman, instead of branding him, he punches him in the nose like, and then, you know, and Lex Luthor has a bloody nose, and then or he has a bloody mouth or whatever, and he's like licking the blood off his, you know, off his teeth like a you know, a insane crazy person, like, he's coming, he's hungry. Or something like that. I mean, that would have been better in my opinion. But yeah, I had a brain fart earlier in this review, in this spoiler talk about the nightmare sequence. I know it's the parademons that were flying around. That was the parademons. But how Batman would have nightmares about a villain that we're gonna potentially see down the road. Maybe he predicted the future. I don't know, because he told Diana we need to get these people together and forming a team, and says he just has a feeling. And it deserved to have an end credit scene. That movie deserved the end credit scene. Like, the end credit scene should have had Superman coming out, like with an empty grave, like where Lois goes to visit him, and maybe Bruce and Lois go to visit him, and then Bruce is on his way to visit him, and Lois comes to his grave, to Superman or Clark's grave first, and then she sees that the grave is empty. Like the ground is split open, and the coffin is empty, and she has a shocked look on his face, and Bruce is asking her like, oh, what's wrong? And then no, he doesn't ask her what's wrong. He looks like, and they look at each other like, does this mean? Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like when they had the close shot of the coffin, and then the dirt on top of the coffin was slowly kind of moving and whatever. I was almost expecting Superman to punch his way out of the coffin. I was like waiting for it too, like he's gonna Falcon punch his way out of that coffin, but nothing happens. And I was like, no, don't start rolling credits yet, please, no, give me more. But this movie was great. I mean, it had its flaws, it had its random moments, but they were pretty minor to me. The more I look back on this movie, the more irrelevant the flaws are to me. I mean, I focus more on what I loved about this movie, and I have a feeling when I go get my second dose of this movie, I will love it even more than I did when I saw it, the other night, Thursday night. But yeah, tell me your favorite moments in this movie. Which of your favorite moments were there? Was it Wonder Woman's entrance? Was it the Batman and Superman fight, or the Doomsday fight? I was fine with them being totally different fights. I mean, I was totally fine with that. If it was just Batman and Superman fighting through the entire movie, that wouldn't make any sense to me. There would be no story. That would just be like, just for a fan based movie. I mean, like, they are meant to be friends. I mean, like, they have a strong friendship. I mean, they're like brothers. I mean, if you follow the Justice League, if you follow the comics, I mean, you would know what I'm talking about. But maybe this will inspire Batman to to restrain himself from killing. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. So, yeah. Share your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed this Spoiler Talk, thumb up the video. Make sure you click subscribe if you're new to the channel. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out, y'all.